Mother's Day began as a rugged, grassroots public health movement, organized by Anne Reeves Jarvis in the Appalachian Mountains. Taylor County, West Virginia, sat on a fractured border during the Civil War. Families sharing a church pew had sons fighting in opposing armies. To reconcile these communities after the fighting stopped, Jarvis established Mother's Friendship Day to bring estranged neighbors back together. But there is a central historical paradox. The very Appalachian women who anchored these vital efforts are systematically erased from the civil record. They are hidden by the English common law doctrine of coverture. Under coverture's unity of person rules, a married woman had no independent legal identity. Her ability to own property, sign binding contracts, or appear in court was absorbed into her husband's name. Because standard record searches will fail to find them, genealogists must construct a matriarch evidence map. We do this by using 5 specific historical workarounds to pull their identities back into the light. Step 1 is navigating property records. A woman's visibility here depends on geographical legal timelines across the 13 Appalachian states. For example, New York passed the Married Women's Property Act in 1848, granting independent rights early. But further south, states like Virginia and Kentucky maintained stricter environments and delayed similar reforms until 1894. Before those reforms, women shared one universal legal safeguard, the right of dower. This entitled a widow to a life interest in 1/3 of her husband's real estate. To find a female ancestor using this right, you have to run a counterintuitive search. Open the county deed indexes and search for her husband's name. Then scan his property transactions for the Latin notation et ux, meaning and wife. Because the wife had a legal interest in the property, the husband could not finalize a sale without her consent. The law required a magistrate to privately examine the wife, away from her husband, to ensure she wasn't being coerced. This interview generated a paragraph in the deed called a dower release. That release records her formal consent and names her in her own right. In many Appalachian counties, this dower release is the sole official civic document where a married woman's independent identity exists on paper. Step 2 involves vital records. Researchers often hit a brick wall looking for a 19th century matriarch because she likely died before the state began issuing death certificates. The workaround is to shift your focus to the next generation. Trace every single known child of that matriarch to their respective deaths in the 20th century. This strategy succeeds because early 20th century death certificates and the original SS5 forms used to apply for Social Security explicitly ask for the applicant's mother's maiden name. By shifting focus downward, an undocumented mother who died in the 1870s can be definitively identified by a son who filed for Social Security in 1935. Step 3 is checking church records. A common mistake is restricting your research strictly to a family's known dominant Protestant denomination. Appalachian religion was fluid. Families frequently crossed denominational lines or utilized multi-denominational camp meetings to officiate marriages or baptize children. If you can trace a family to Quaker meeting records or Catholic parish registers, you have found the most detailed maternal data available. These records routinely outpace civil documents. They name exact maiden names, list full parental names, and document maternal relatives acting as godparents. Breaking free from assumptions about a family's faith reveals maternal kinship networks that standard civic record keepers ignored. Step 4 relies on a federal paper trail created by the Civil War, specifically through the Pension Dependent Act of 1890. To find these records, we look to the National Archives, specifically Record Group 15, which holds Civil War widows' pension files. The government placed a heavy burden of proof on widows applying for benefits. To get approved, a woman submitted community testimony, neighbor affidavits, and proof of her marriage. This process captured raw physical evidence. Widows frequently ripped actual family Bible pages out of their bindings and mailed them to the Pension Bureau. When searching the index, check the veteran's name, but also search the widow's remarried name. Subsequent marriages often contain maiden details hidden from her first file. These federal pension files serve as a bypass around local courthouse fires and careless county clerks, preserving family data in federal vaults. Step 5 is verification. No single historical record is infallible. You must build a web of evidence to prove your findings. Match the woman you found in the property dower release in Step 1 against the widow named in the husband's probate will. If the details align, you confirm they are the same person. To finalize the map, genealogists can use mitochondrial DNA testing as a biological verification tool. Mitochondrial DNA is passed strictly from a mother to all of her children. Testing along the maternal line allows researchers to confirm or challenge the assumptions built on paper. Layering civil workarounds, church records, and genetic science replaces legal silence with a verifiable record of their lives. This brings us back to Anne Reeves Jarvis and her daughter, Anna. Anna realized that a mother's unseen work demanded a formal public ledger of remembrance. Genealogical research continues the work of Mother's Friendship Day by reconciling families and restoring lost identities to the record. Pick one male ancestor from your tree today, open his county's deed index, and look closely at his land sales. Find the dower release, and you find the hidden matriarch. The matriarch branch is the structural spine that ensured the family's survival through history. Finding her name is the final step in completing the map.
Thanks for watching. Please join us again next time for more history from the mountains. Don't forget to like and subscribe,